Hi, I don't know if anyone can hear me, but anyway, I seem to be live on the group. Thank you, Steve, for inviting me to be a little bit terrified for about half an hour or however long I'm going to speak. And it's an absolute privilege, absolutely, to be here in the group, because it's only new for me and only very recent for me that I have joined the group. So I'm just going to take a few seconds just to see and make sure that I am actually live. Yeah, I'm in the group. Okay, cool. Okay, so I'd love it if somebody would join me. Oh yeah, Steve, hi. I don't feel so alone all of a sudden. But thanks for inviting me anyway. It's really, really cool to be here. And hey Mike, I don't know who you are, but I'm very new to the group, so I've been following Steve for a while and liking what he's saying, so I kind of just followed the breadcrumbs and decided to come into the group, which is great because I've got quite a bit to say this evening and I hope I don't ramble too long, but if I do, let me know. So what I thought I'd do just while maybe a few people join is I'm feeling a little bit of quickening, you know, that nervous feeling, so it could be quite nice to just take a couple of deep breaths. So Steve and Mike, maybe just close our eyes and take 1 or 2 or 3 nice big deep breaths to allow the quickening to settle for me, and also just to kind of feel that you have arrived maybe at the end of your day, ready for a little bit of wisdom, a little bit of a laugh, and see where we get to. So just arriving, breathing, connecting to your body. So, okay, I'm Gina Hardy and I'm a yoga teacher, Hatha and Yin yoga teacher, and I've been teaching yoga for about 8 years and I've been practicing yoga for about 20 years. I started going to yoga after a marriage breakup, and so through suffering I decided that there must be more to life than whatever it was I was feeling, so that was kind of my propelling onto my spiritual path, if you like, and also in the direction of yoga. So I work with predominantly women, although eventually it's not exclusive, but on retreat, one-to-one and coaching environment for women who tend to run their energy in a more of a yang way. And what I mean by that, on the yin and yang symbol, it's women who are very directive, that's corporates, mums, anybody that runs life and got so much responsibility, but eventually they end up draining themselves. So kind of 40 plus to 60, really around the midlife age range, because that's when we tend to run into a lot of trouble, and that can affect our mental wellness and quite significantly. So I really help people live in their bodies, which might sound strange, but a lot of people experience stress because they're just in their heads the whole time and they're rarely actually feeling like they're in their bodies. So with yoga and coaching and healing is exactly how I help people, which is really immensely rewarding, because I do it on retreat, which I totally adore. Being away with people is just incredible, and I love doing that. So stress is for me really is mind-body disconnect, and we live in our heads so much more than we ever used to. We've kind of forgotten about this vehicle that lives on the end of our neck, and yet it's the most precious thing we have. So I teach embodiment, which is really important for me and for my clients. So the first thing I wanted to talk about, hi Vicky, lovely for you to join, and actually very honoured that you would even bother to tune in tonight at 8 o'clock, so thank you. So yes, I work with women predominantly in midlife, because midlife, as I have experienced myself, is an immensely changeable time for women and also men, but kind of thing. There's not, everything is exclusive, men and women. But for us, it's like, you know, menopause, which is huge in itself. And then there's things like losing a parent, there's children leaving home, maybe dying, you know, husbands or wives or whatever. There's a lot going on in midlife. And actually, it's almost like the whole of your life catches up in midlife, and whatever was unresolved from the past kind of comes at you with quite intense energy. And with midlife, my goodness, it's just incredible. So I'll talk a little bit about myself, but what I wanted to mention, one of the first things I put up there on my post this evening was the new mental imbalance. And I don't want to call it a mental illness, because ultimately I get a bit uncomfortable with labelling things as mental illness, because it feels like just an imbalance between mind, body and soul. So, but for me, the new mental imbalance really is distraction. Because the minute we wake up every day, and I know it myself, I lean out of bed, I grab my phone, I'm trying to catch up with social media the minute my eyes are open, and I just think that we have all the gaps that we used to have, like having Sundays off to spend time with our families and everything else, tends to be filled now with technology and all that goes with it. So distraction is filling the gaps. And then we're talking so much about mental imbalance is because there's no space. So one of the things I do when I'm on retreat with women is to really allow loads and loads of space, because you can only come into your body when you have space. You can only start to lead a simple life when you have space. I mean, and we do fill our lives totally. So this whole distraction thing is really quite interesting. It's a medication for existing mental conditions, but it's also an illness in itself, because we're just filling our heads the whole time. I can do it, I know, but I have my methods with yoga and also meditation. I teach meditation on retreat, and I will be starting to do some MP3s so that people can just find their headspace and get into meditation, because that is where we really open up an opportunity for stillness and space. So, and also this thing about distraction filling the gaps is actually becoming of epidemic proportions now. I mean, it's just crazy. And we are in a collective movement of waking up, and I'll talk a little bit more about that towards the end, because I think we do have a collective responsibility to kind of look at ourselves and start moving forward and helping each other and be in service. But anyway, so that's what I do, and mental distraction is crazy. And then talking about my journey, I'm 51, and my midlife, I will call it a crisis for other people's purposes, but it's not actually. It's a midlife awakening for me, has happened over the last 18 months. I think I've probably been desperate to collapse to the bottom for 5 years. And I have been in my menopause. I was with a long-term relationship for 6 years that broke down in December 15. I've been self-employed. I wasn't self-sustaining. I hadn't got my own house. I don't have siblings. I don't have children, and just everything caught up. So I think it had all been coming for a very long time. And I remember writing a blog on my website called Having a Midlifer, Why It's Not a Crisis, because it's very difficult to not label things as a crisis when you feel pain. However, there's just so much gold in suffering. So every time you suffer, it's easy to go into the suffering and get embedded in the suffering, which has its place. But there's also that thing about knowing that it's alchemical change is trying to happen. So yeah, I've been self-employed teaching yoga, but not earning enough money, and but I was in a very wonderful conscious relationship, and that kept me from collapsing, if you like, because we did have an incredible relationship. But then there were the issues, we had intimacy issues, we had money issues, and eventually he decided to leave in December 15, and that was the catalyst to my midlife crisis. And it was quite funny because I was actually 50 last year, and I thought how weird is like it was like it was ordered by the universe to just be here and collapse me right into the middle of everything. You know, who was I? Where was I going? I had no money. I couldn't travel. I couldn't do the things I wanted to do. And every single mental daily thought was negative. So I woke up negative. All the perpetuating stories in my mind were negative. And that creates its own neural pathway. So you just stay negative, 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 and all you do is repeat, repeat, repeat. But I just felt like I couldn't change it. And at the same time, teaching yoga was quite a nemesis because I was inspiring all these people, but I felt like shit. I really did. I can't tell you how I used to feel, but I was holding back a collapse. And last year I remember saying, I wished I could just collapse, but I'm afraid if I do, what's going to happen? Because I'll lose everything and it's just going to be awful. And also I was 50 and I had some amazing celebrations last year and I didn't want to fuck it up. You know, I wanted to be happy as well, but actually my happiness was not from an organic place. It was from a forced place in a way, even though I did have some good experiences last year. But I went to the Pride Festival in Brighton last August and I took a picture of my face. They'd painted it on the side and I took a picture of my face and close up of my eyes, and I looked into my eyes and I just wanted to cry because even when I think of it now, it's hard. And yeah, so I looked into my own eyes and I thought, wow, you look so sad, so destroyed, so everything. And even my mum said, my goodness, I've never seen your eyes look that sad. So it propelled me to think, well, I've always been willing to look at my own mental health issues, but I think I had just had a happiness bypass. Everything was collapsing, and when Joel left, it just tore me apart. I was heartbroken. He went off with someone else, which I completely get now. I mean, I just want the best for him and I adore him. But at the time it was just heartbreaking. You know, there's nothing like a broken relationship to really, really tear you apart. I think that's one of the biggest things is, you know, when it comes to loss or someone dying, that's so final, but also loss of relationship. And we are so invested in our intimate relationship anyway. And I'm also a relationship coach in my history, so I've known a lot about this stuff. So I was doing my best last year to keep it up. And I've got notes, by the way, otherwise I'll forget where I am. And I'd always been really, my spiritual openness was really helping me because I was able to meditate, I was able to go to my mat and cry my eyes out and do all of those things. But I really didn't know what to do to help myself, even though I thought, well, I've done a lot of spiritual work. You know, I've done 15 years worth of spiritual work, but that doesn't stop all this stuff happening to you in life. You are always probably going to go through the ups and downs of life. That's it. You know, doesn't matter how much self-growth you do, it doesn't stop all these things happening in life. What it does do is it gives you the tools, and your tools are going to be different to mine. But I've got loads and loads and loads of things that I've done and have helped me. I read books like There's No Tomorrow and all of that stuff, although I am actually now getting much more focused on the wisdom that is inherent in all of us right in. Hi Angela, lovely to see you. Thank you for joining. Again, I feel humble, anybody listening. Yeah, so it was a really, really painful ride, and at the same time I was holding back my pain and just deliberately kind of going, no, just keep moving forward. You know, everyone stiff upper lip, move forward, and it almost feels normal, but you know it's not normal because you feel like you've had a joy bypass, you feel like you've had a happiness bypass, but you just function, you exist, and you just get on with it. But what I want to say is everything the trauma comes at you through your mental construct, whatever you experience in life, but it hits your body And this is why I'm so fascinated with bodies, because a lot of people don't listen to their bodies. They medicate their bodies with alcohol, with social media, excessive exercise can be that too. And I'm a massive fan of listening to the body. I had a near-death experience when I was 24, and I had to listen, and I just listened for death for about 2 days. And I thought, you know, it kind of focused me on my body. So that's kind of a natural way, the red thread of you know, doing yoga and embodying and stuff. So coming back to this body thing, all the trauma is stored in your body memory. Loss, I mean, we all go through shattered dreams, and there's just so much loss in our lives. It's just ridiculous. No wonder we suffer in so many different ways. And so over my pain from my broken relationship, but also holding back things that were right there. Yeah, always listen to your body, Angela. So true. I do, because I love my body now. Why wouldn't you? I mean, ultimately, it's the most precious gift you have. Without the breath, you're nothing. So without the body that has the breath, there is nothing here. There's nothing to achieve. It should be the most important thing in your life, beyond any bloody relationship that you have with anybody, even your kids, right? Without you, there's nothing. They wouldn't have you. So, you know, anyway, that's kind of really, yeah, you know. But anyway, anytime anybody asked me about Joel, I would feel it in my solar plexus, like so much. It was like I could feel instantaneous tears coming to the surface. So I thought, I need to get this shit sorted out. So it propelled me in the direction of somebody that I find just extraordinary. And he is called the modern day wizard, amazing guy called Andrew Wallace. And he is a traditional psychotherapist, but also he's incredibly spiritual. So I found Andrew through the book that he wrote about, called Call Off the Search, with his wife, and it's the most profound book on relationships I think I've ever read, and I've read a lot of books on relationships. And Call Off the Search, I found that Andrew was dealing with core wounding, shattered dreams, heartbreak, and many other things, and it just spoke to me. So in August, only last year, I went to him for a one-to-one. And what was interesting about that is that you need to find your route for healing. So what I mean by that is that we have different ways of healing: physical, spiritual, emotional, and psychological. So the mental stuff. Now, I've been through ups and downs, marriage breakup, near-death experience, blah, 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 blah. And each has its own, you know, plethora of mental stuff going on. Now, I've always been able to really talk about my stuff. I can talk to anyone at any time about how I feel about this, and this. But that doesn't necessarily heal it. To intellectualize everything doesn't heal it for me. This is personal to me. It might be different for you, but it does help to talk. Of course it does. I have an amazing array of girlfriends. So it really does help to talk, yes. And I can also cry and rant and express emotion. I'm really good at expressing anger, tears, the whole bit. But somewhere deep down inside, just talking about pain, just crying, just didn't heal me, because I can continue to cry about something. What I was looking for, and what really made sense to me, was feeling that I had healed properly. So when I went in the direction of this guy, I went for a one-to-one, and I came away in 3 hours with my stuff about my boyfriend that had left me healed completely. And I know because when I saw him 2 months later and we split up our house stuff and everything together, all I felt for him was love. I didn't feel any vomity feelings, you know, the regular, oh my God, the spasming in your body, all of those kind of things, it had gone. So Andrew's work is about body healing, and it works at a cellular level. It's like I came out of there, and he really wasn't interested in my story. because you can only intellectualize things to a certain extent. He was interested in what I was feeling in my body, and I came out of there healed. And I was so fascinated that actually, for me, it's not gone until it's gone from my body. You know, mind perpetuates what's going on in the body, and then it just keeps it alive, keeps it alive, keeps it alive. Somebody mentions something to do with your trauma, your anything, and immediately you feel the hit in your body. That's where it all sits, that's where it all lives, that's where it all is, in little tiny storehouses, you know, energetic storehouses in the body. So I was absolutely blown away by the fact that this is the first time in my life, even after self-growth, that I've done, and I've done a lot, by the way, that this was proper alchemical healing. So it propelled me onto a 2-year course with Andrew and a bunch of incredible people who are all regular people. They're not coaches, therapists, blah blah blah, they're all regular people, and I'm a year through it and already everything has changed. On the outside, my boyfriend had still left. I have had you know, nothing much has changed on the outside, but oh my god, whereas I was on this happiness bypass, no libido for life, tired, feeling ill all the time, suddenly I am back, you know, and I just feel so much joy. I feel so connected to myself. I feel connected to my body. I feel connected to other people. I just feel connected. And to think that not that long ago, I was just feeling despair, and from my experience, beyond despair is just a difficult road, because where do you stop? You know, it can be, I kept thinking, what would it be like not to be here? You know, what would it be like to have a thought that means that I could take my own life and all of that kind of stuff? And I thought, wow, this is just unbelievable. In my whole world, I have never ever had a suicidal thought, but I was getting to that point where I thought, this is it. I just want it to stop. And the only way to stop this is to just stop. So it was really interesting. So for you is like, you know, what would actually bring your healing? Is it talking about it? Is it emotional? Is it physical? Is it spiritual? Because you know when it's gone, because anything that appears after that to do with that subject where you had trauma, loss or anything like that, it's just not in your body anymore. You don't feel it and you know it's gone. And it's just profound for me, and that makes me feel really excited. That's why I wanted to share some of this, and this group is incredible. So many people in here, and I think amazing, and I'm glad to share it. But my healing is physical healing with, and this guy is a psychotherapist, okay? So I do believe, even after all the self-growth that I have, and I've hung out with loads of people on retreat, different things that I've done, this was proper. And I do believe you need therapy. And the thing is, we're not programmed to actually deal with it. And I'm not a fan, and this is just me, and I might be sticking my head above the parapet here, right? But if you've got any form of trauma in any way, any loss that you cannot deal with and you're frightened of it, then actually just changing your thought to a happy one doesn't fucking work. Okay, I'm going to be honest, and I say fuck because I do. It makes me kind of just go, you know, I feel strongly about this. Is like, I'm not the happy clappy tribe. It doesn't work for me, okay? And this natural sense of joy that I have now, I feel that is inherent within my being, and I've just reaccessed that and cleared the stuff out the way. But I had to do the work. You can't just change into a happy thought when you have stuff in the way that you know you can't deal with, okay? It doesn't work like that. So and traditional psychotherapy and everything else, well, it depends who you choose. I happen to have yeah, thank you, Louise. Yeah, I happen to know people that I don't know, all sorts of people, and it's fantastic, and I'm really keen to pay it forward, because, you know, my life motto is live, and when you live, you learn, and when you learn, you love more. But then your collective responsibility is to pay forward what you know, okay? That's it. Don't hold on to it. It's not yours. It's for you to experience your own healing and then pay it forward to other people, because otherwise you are not passing forward your wisdom, because through suffering you have to suffer. Okay, you have to have suffering alongside happiness. Happiness does not exist, nor does joy, without suffering. We just have to get to a place where we know how to deal with it. We understand that we can accept the contrast of life between happy and sad, day and night, richer or poorer. You know, we exist in contrast. We can't not. So it's kind of a given. It's like a universal law. So, but it's how you deal with that. So yeah, choose your access point. Is it physical? Is it spiritual? Is it, and it could be a small combination, but you'll find your way. There are people that help you heal physically. There are people who help you heal your psyche. There are people who help you heal emotionally. But this was my way. It's my way of healing, and it is incredible. So, I mean, I'm just radically different now than when I was when I went into the process with Andrew. I'm on his course. I've been on it 1 year, and I'm about to go into year 2. And it is psycho-spiritual development, but on a deep level. You have to roll your sleeves up, and you have to get the fuck into your emotions, and you learn to be with your emotions properly, truly, undistracted with alcohol and all the other things that you do choose. You get to sit with it. And it's difficult to explain to you what happens when you sit with a very deep emotion. I had despair, hopelessness, and resignation that life was going to be this way forever. And interestingly, I thought despair was my worst emotion, but actually it was resignation. When I released that on the course, I literally collapsed on the floor. My body had its own reaction. Your body has its own reaction to the stuff that's trapped in your cells. And resignation was just bizarre. I felt my arms kind of go paralyzed for moments, and it was literally passing through. And I know this to be true because I've experienced it. Before I was intellectualizing it, but actually every single emotion, it takes huge bravery to sit with your darkness. And that's why I would say, if you feel fear, every time you go, because I know people have got severe trauma, and some of my retreat guests have had trauma, and you can't just sit with an emotion if you've experienced trauma, because it is terrifying, and you know that you just want to run away from it. So you need therapeutic help, you need support, you need nurture, you need somebody professional to help you bring it to the surface so that you can alchemize the emotion that's there. And being with it and letting it through is really, really powerfully transforming. It just works. Anyway, I'm getting to 8:30, guys, so I'm sorry if I'm rambling, but anyway, it's just absolutely brilliant, this stuff, and I feel incredible joy. And but I've always been a fan of rolling up my sleeves and getting stuck in. So I love this quote: the only way to truly experience the exquisite view from the mountain is to climb it, right? You can't heli drop into the top. Yeah, you fly over a mountaintop, but you've got to stand on the mountaintop. And that, to me, is being connected to life, to your soul, to your aliveness and everything. But you've got to climb it, right? You really have got to climb it. There's no way up except for climbing it. The proper feeling of feeling truly alive is when you're connected to your joy, your soul, and what's coming through you. There's stuff in the way. For some people it's this big, some people it's this big, some people it's absolutely huge. So if the gap is huge, where you've got loads of pain and trauma and stuff in the way, you need to see a therapist. That's it. You know, you can't go, I'm feeling like shit, I want to kill myself, to, oh, I just feel happy. Sorry to bang on about that, but that's an important point for me anyway. So to talk about you, observationally, I see and I speak to a lot of people who are in pain. And they live with so many demons, but they've kind of got used to it, that this is it, right? But it's a numbness. It's a fucking numbness. You cannot live that way, okay? So if you're listening to this now or afterwards, You cannot live that way. That's not what you were meant to do when you came here. You weren't. You have had experience. We're born whole, okay? And then we get into our parenting and our schooling and everything else, and that's when it fucks up, you know, on a lot of levels at some point, to a great extent, a small extent, and everything else. Then we get into relationships, it fucks it all up even more. And then we've got to undo we've got to unfuck the fucked up stuff. And oh my God, it's just a lifelong process. But look, I'm sitting here now at 51 and I feel the best that I have ever felt in my whole life. And on the outside, I've got some stuff, and I know it's all coming because I've changed my attitude. And again, it's all energetics in your body. As you change everything inside, the outside changes, but you know all that, and that's for a different day. But anyway, people live with inner demons, and it's normal. So what they do then, again, the new mental illness is they distract themselves. Great, you know, booze, food, you know all these things, over exercising, too much sex, blah 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 blah. But it's like a slow strangulation of your life force, and I was getting that way. My life force was strangling itself. And you can, you know, yeah, maybe you can pass, I don't know. But you must muffle your intuition and your whispers. If you go to my Facebook page today, I posted this beautiful video which really, really got me right in the heart, which was Oprah Winfrey talking about getting the knocks for not listening to your whispers, your soul speaking to you every single day. But we need sometimes a massive slap to wake up. And what I want to say is, please wake up, you know, don't let the messages become so large. Only your goodness is trying to happen. I really know that place, and I've been there, and you just need to be able to access the recognition that life is being numbed, life is, you know, and all this stuff is in the way, and access the willingness to want to change it, because you have to be willing. Nobody, and loads of people can say stuff to you, but until you're ready to listen, nothing changes. Until you're ready to actually do something, nothing changes. The last thing I want to really say is, which is where I want to hang out more, is my message to the collective. It's like, I'm no different from you. You're no different from me. I'm no different to the man that walks past me in the street. And we have a collective responsibility to heal and wake up. Yes, you do need to get to the root cause. What do you mean by that, Angela? To the root cause of your pain and suffering, yeah? Yeah, you do need to get to the root cause. Thank you for that. That's really, really important, because until you get to that place, which is the darkest, deepest emotion of whatever is associated with it, and release it, we then don't alchemically heal. So yes, for me, the bigger picture, the bigger message here is to collectively wake up. We're in massively changing times. We are being purged of all of our stuff. So there's no wonder that we're so focused on mental health now, and it's amazing that we are. In whichever way you choose to heal, please heal. To me, I see how many people are dying. I mean, there were so many celebrities dying last year. That's just a small part of what's happening in the collective. There's a lot more disease around. I don't care what anybody says. I see people dying of cancer and getting sick all the time at the moment. It's like the body is sick of storing all these things. So it goes, hey, I want out. I want to get out. I want to be out. And if you aren't going to listen, then we're out of here. Let's go back to the factory in the sky, maybe come back and do some more good work in the future. But the bigger message is, please wake up to yourself, because when you do, the beauty of that, just think, as you transform, you radiate that out to all the people around you. You help them heal, they help other people heal, then it spreads, it spreads, it spreads, it spreads. And I'm a one, person in this universe, but I speak on behalf of the collective, and so do you, so does everybody else. So we do need to look at all this stuff, because it's holding you back from serving somehow, serving your immediate community, doing something beautiful. But you are love, you are the collective force. I'm very spiritually inquisitive, so I know there's a greater force at work. You could call it God, you could call it spirit, whatever you do. But I'm so passionate about people waking up to the destruction that is in your mind that doesn't have to be there. It is a choice. I know that it's painful and everything else. It really is. I've been there. I know what it's like. However, we just have a collective responsibility to wake up. So please wake up, you know, and let's do this together. And anyway, I could get into more about that, but I won't. So I hope you found this useful in some way. Do chat to me, come and friend me on Facebook. I've got a Gina Hardy Yoga page, and I'm going to do a Facebook group at some point, but now I feel so incredible. I just want to deliver a lot more retreats and one-to-ones, and I do work more with women than men, and I do women-only retreats, and I'm getting into a place where I'm actually talking to people before they book a retreat, because I'd love to just understand for what reasons you're coming on retreat, because my retreats tend to be quite a deep dive through meditation and yoga, essentially, into the stuff that might come to the surface. So, but it's beautiful. I'm on Instagram, and literally 2 days ago, I started to really go through step by step how I've been feeling, the help I can give you, and really just to show that someone cares. Sometimes I love Instagram because the people I really admire, I can actually feel like that I can connect directly to them, which is incredibly powerful, perhaps a bit more so than Facebook. So my Instagram handle is yoga_g_, and yeah, I think I'm going to go now because my jacket potato is probably nearly ready. Thank you, Vicky. Thank you, Louise. I feel very humble that you've been watching, and I know that we can do some great stuff together, because again, it's about we thinking, not me thinking, but we have to do a bit of me clearing before we can move forward. And all I know is that love and goodness awaits. So namaste, come and join me, come and speak to me, share your wisdom, that kind of stuff on retreat. That would be awesome. Take care. God bless.